Today, we are going to learn about regional economic development, that is chapter 20. In this chapter, we will be learning about how a place can be developed or how it can be planned to be developed so that there is an economic prosperity along with a social harmony that prevails over that particular place. In short, we will be talking about sustainable development. So in this chapter, what we would be discussing about is we will be talking about sustainable development. Now, before we go on further discussing about what sustainable development is, let's first talk about development. What is development? In simple terms, when we see anything prospering in terms of economic, in terms of polity, in terms of social, if these things are growing and then moving towards positivity, or it's growing, to that is what we call development. That means a place is economically growing, its political situations are good, its social conditions are very well so that people can habitate there. So this is where development occurs. But there are certain factors or certain reasons why development in a place is so necessary, or why development. Why do we need development? As we already discussed, for economic, polity or social. But then why development? So in this case, what we see is, in first case, we see that there is a rapid growth of population. So randomized growth is a hindrance to the development of a place. So this growth that we see has to be managed very well. So hence development is required. Next, there are many independent countries now that have been formed. Many independent countries have been formed. So for the formations of these independent countries, or to make this place grow, development requires. The next, since population is increasing, there is a large demand of resources. So hence development is required. There is also now, after decolonialization, that means there are many places or there are many countries where power has been now vested into different hands, and there is not just one supreme power or one supreme government that takes care of a particular country. So this decolonialization work, or this decolonialization process that has taken place now with different countries, also requires development, and hence we see the development as an integral part for any country or for any society. Now this development, the concept in fact of development, varies from scholars or various perspectives. When we see this development, that varies in terms of various perspectives. We see an economist first. For an economist, economic growth becomes very important. That means if a country is growing economically, that means that particular country is developing. So economic growth would come with per capita income, the production process, the sales and marketing, etc. So this is where we see as an economics perspective of development, wherein an economic growth is what is being looked for. In terms of a political scientist or political research or a political scholar, what we see is we mostly discuss about role of government. The role of government is what polity or political scenario demands for, and this is where development occurs. So what happens in this case is, in either of the case, to give an evidence or to cite an example, we can take the present situation where the whole world is been affected with COVID-19, that is affected by coronavirus. When we see in terms of economic perspective, the world now is not developing. In fact, we cannot say that we are now making a development. Why? Because the economic work has come into a standstill. So this is in terms of economist view of development. Now we are stuck. That means we are with zero development. And in this case, when we see polity, to work out with this, what is the government doing to sort out the problems of this present situation? What is the government doing is what actually a development comes with polity. This is what we talk about in terms of development is a single concept that comes to economics or sociologist. Apart from, the polity situation. Now coming to sociologist, that is a social perspective. In social perspective, what we require in terms of development is social harmony. So social harmony means people that reside in one particular place should live in much peace, and there should be a friendly relations amongst each other. Then only, according to the sociologist, then only if there exists a social harmony, then is economic growth possible. Or without social harmony, economic growth is not possible. This is what the sociologist, or in terms of social perspective, we look for with the development. Coming to historian. Historian will be more analytical in terms of what happened in the past related to the economic growth, or in terms of the political situations that occurred in that particular place, or what society existed or exists in present situation or in the past, is what historians make an analysis of. Well, when we come to a geographer's perspective or a geography's perspective, what we see is we already have learned in class 11 that geography is an integrated subject. So in an integrated subject, what we get to learn is it is having all the concept and not just depending on one particular perspective or a concept. So what we find in integrated is everything within it. So what we look for it, we look for a social harmony along with an economic growth, a better role of government, at the same time the history that we were in earlier, learning from that is what we are in present time, is what we call development. So in short, when we look forward with all this, geography or a geographer's perspective in dealing with development comes with first the analysis of regional disparities. That is, in terms of development, when we talk about regional disparities, A and B with two different places has to be same in terms of economic, in terms of polity or social. That is what there we mean it to be equal. There is no such differences between A and B. The next is we should learn the process of development in a much space wise rather than going as a whole. When we make development into one smaller area and then transfer into a larger area, the effect becomes more, and then we get to see development coming in large. The next, is that with this development that comes after, or that comes to a particular place, we also make sure that that is not affecting the present ecology where we survive. So as a whole, like he said, we in short are actually dealing with sustainable development. In sustainable development, in short, I would say, emphasizing once again to sustainable development, it is in simple word like saying live and let live. So this is where we are utilizing the resources in excess even in the present situation without causing an effect to what would be left over for the future generations. So this is what we call as sustainable development. In simple or in much simpler ways, we say when we are living here, let us live for ourselves and not harm the others, and live for even others. That is what we talk about sustainable development. Now development, when we say, does not come in a short span of time, or it cannot happen with only spaces. It takes time for any place to develop from zero to its higher position or to its highest position. So when we try and understand this development happening through time and space, we see that it is been divided into different levels. It cannot happen as a whole, especially in a country like India, where the government is not one. The power is also vested in the hands of the state as well as that in the center. Again, the state is further been decolonialized with the power to the districts, to the blocks, and finally coming to the panchayat levels. So this is where in India we see, or we try and understand it as multi-level planning. So in multi-level planning, the first comes is the national level, which deals with all sorts of developmental progress that happens in a country, from an education to animal husbandries to agriculture to industries to roads, hospitals. Everything is included within the national level. The same, just next to national level comes the state level. The state level or the state government is the caretaker of one particular state within a confined territory, within a bounded territory of that particular state. So the state, very much like that of the center, takes care of all the activities that happens in one particular place, from developmental works to the social and public sectors to the economic sectors. Everything is taken care by the state level at its highest level of governance. Now the state level is further divided into the else level, and that comes the first as district, then we have the block, and India that we see is panchayat. The panchayat system in India also comes under the multi-level planning. So let's first talk about district level. The district is directly under the supervision of the state government or the state, and in this, the same factors of developmental work comes to the district as that of public, social, infrastructural development, and even the coordinations with industries, with coordinations between the state and the districts and the other parts of the governance. Next to district comes the block, which specifically deals only in the block level. For example, here we are under Kalchini block. So whatever happens within Kalchini is been taken care with the block level planning. Here agriculture to social activities like that of hospitals, fisheries, forest, education, industries, everything is been taken care by the block. Finally, we come to the lowest level of the planning, that is the panchayat level, which is further been divided as the four elements of the panchayat level. In fact, the three-tier system, one coming to the Zilla Parishad, then Zilla Samiti, and then this Pradhan and all comes under village panchayat. They all are interrelated in dealing with different processes that takes place in regards to the developmental work within a panchayat system, as being the lowest level of the multi-level planning. So class, this is for the day, and we will very soon meet with further to discuss the chapters further in details. Thank you and have a good day.